news comes first. This is WECT News.
Thanks so much for staying with us for WECT News at 5:30. I'm Daniela Henke, and we're learning more tonight about the Endowment's latest set of grants. More than $20 million of the public's money is going to a number of organizations throughout New Hanover County, nearly $3 million of which is going to county schools. WCT's Ariana Bertolotti spoke with school officials earlier today. Ariana, you're hearing that money is going to help teachers.
It is, Daniela. The money will be used to fund up to 14 school specialists, specifically designed to help teachers address the most pressing needs in their classroom. Whether the issues are behavioral-based, student engagement, or just to grow teacher collaboration. The school specialists are going to support educators with the end goal of increasing graduation rates through more specific targeted attention to students. An example of this is how a teacher knowing how to best handle a child's academic needs, or a student struggling with behavioral issues and a classroom behavior plan is created. School officials say they are confident this model will help transform the futures of the districts of students by giving teachers the confidence to tackle any classroom challenge.
It starts at the teacher level. Teachers knowing they have the resources at their fingertips and they have someone to walk in this with them. So that goes back to identifying our model teachers and utilizing them for coaching so that every teacher, and even our schools that have the most needs, can feel that they have the opportunity to demonstrate and implement the highest quality instructional practices.
The specific plan for the school specialists is in the works as we speak, but these additions are expected to be in place for the next 2 school years. Ariana Bertolotti, WECT News.